May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. Be blessed by the divine. Good morning to every one of you. 500 years back, there was a gentleman, there was a Pandit actually in a place called Tirunelveli in South India, and he was preaching Advaita philosophy to the people. And he was a great meditator, and he was a scholar. And when he was at the last period of his life, he had a severe stomach pain. And what he used to do is, when somebody comes here to asking their doubts or asking telling their problems and seeking a solution and all that, he doesn't want to really suffer in front of them because of stomach pain. So what he did, because he meditated a lot, he used to grab some grass, which is not an ordinary grass. There are some special type of grass which is used in homam and all spiritual practices, right, which they put it in the fire. And so he used to keep those some grasses near him. And he, before he answers and when somebody comes, immediately using his meditative power, he used to transfer his stomach pain to that grass which is nearby where he sits. Now, then he started answering the questions or explaining something to the people who have come here. And during that time, whenever he is supposed to feel the pain, but the grass will go through the pain and the grass will start dancing up and down, left, right, and things like that. When the grass is moving up and down, left, right, that means there is a stomach pain, in fact, for him, but he passed it to the grass. So its movement symbolizes the pain, right? So he was doing like that, and with one person, it looks, no, it went like a heated argument. So this particular Pandit was explaining something, and he was not accepting it, and some arguments it kept going on, and his stomach pain, obviously, because he is in tension now, it got increased, and the grass started dancing to a very high level, up and down, no, to 1 feet and 2 feet and things like that. And people were watching this, and then as soon as that conversation is over, and the same person who asked the question to this Pandit ji, you transferred your stomach pain to this grass, but we don't understand. As soon as your job is over, as soon as the discussion is over, why you are taking back the pain from the grass to your body, and again you started suffering the stomach pain, and again another person comes in, and then again you are transferring it. This is why you can leave it there, let the grass take care of it, and you please be relieved from that pain. Why you don't do that? And that gentleman answered the question like this, saying that you have to understand that if I have sin, only I have to suffer. I can't escape from the sins I have done. There is no way I can escape. Such is the power of sin. Now, if a student doesn't study well, normally the class teacher immediately sends a message to the parents of that boy to come and meet the student teacher. Now the teacher will complain to the parents that your boy is not studying well, or this he is very weak in mathematics or whatever. No, so similarly, we all have sins and we all do sins. If at all we have to fix that problem, if at all we don't want to do sins, because sin is so powerful, what we should do, we should find out who are the parents of the sins. so that we complain or we take care of the parents so that we don't do sins. So that is the today's topic, parents of all sins. Whatever sins people do it, who could be the parents? Parents means father and mother. So who is the father and mother of the sins? What humanity is has been doing it. So that was our objective of today's discussion. And what are we going to discuss? Because we know that sins manifest in two ways as per Maharishi. One is as a physical disease or as a mental agitation. That means what you think, it will not happen. Whatever I think or whatever I want, it will not happen. So that it becomes a tension for me, right? So these are the two ways it gets manifested. Now, what are the things we are going to discuss today? Why sins are so important or so significant that we have to take care of it. We have to find who is the father and mother, and then we have to fix that problem. Otherwise, why we have to know why? What is the significance of that? And now then the parents of sins. It says parents of sins, father and mother. But there was a great poet called Ambalavana Kavirayar, 18th century, and he said the parents of sins is anger only. By with anger only we do all sins. If there is no anger, no sin. And anger is a biggest culprit. If you control anger, you can get rid of all your sins. So what he really explained in that why he says as parents for sin is anger only. That also we are going to discuss it. And the third is what is Maharishi's views about anger. Really, anger is the parents for all the sins, or Maharishi has given some other answer for that question. And also we need to find out how much anger I have. We all may say that no, I am not short tempered, I am fine, and only whenever my husband is not listening, I get angry, or whenever my son is not at all doing what I say, I will get angry. uh, Now how much anger I have? That's the third one. Fourth one, there was a Puranic story, and a king had a doubt one day, who is the father of all sins? And they found an answer, obviously, which is not the answer of point number 2 or point number 3. So it's a different answer. So we are going to discuss what is that answer for father of all sins. And then now, next we will discuss what exactly Maharishi's views about parents of sins. The third point, what is Maharishi's views about anger? The fifth one, what is Maharishi's views about to parents of all the sins? That was the fifth one. And the sixth one is ultimately what I should remember from this lesson or about sins, that key essence of the today's discussion. So these are the 6 things I would like to discuss today. We all will go through that. There was a great scholar called Taylor, and he says that mistakes you can learn from, sins stay with you forever. Why sins are very, very important? So he says mistakes is fine, you can learn from it, but the sins, yeah, you learned it and it's gone. No, it stays with me forever. Forever means until it gets manifested either as a disease or as a mental agitation. Either of that, it has to get manifested, then only the sin will get cleared. Otherwise it stays with me forever. That was his statement. There was another scholar, and what he said is mistakes can be forgiven, sins can never be forgiven. That was his statement. That means I am making sambar, I forgot to add salt, it was a mistake. So when I served the sambar and everybody said, "Oh, there was no salt in." "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot it. I was just doing this, that. I forgot it. I'm so sorry." People can take it. Yeah, yeah, no problems. No worries. Please bring salt. We can add salt. So people may forgive. Because if I put more salt in the sambar, nothing can be done to recover the situation. All sambar is wasted and nobody can enjoy that curry, and nobody will have a satisfied meal, because sambar cannot be made in 1 minute also. So there the forgiveness is also not 100%, right? But still, yeah, he is my wife, so I have to accept it. So I forgive or I accept it. So here mistakes can be forgiven, but sins can never be forgiven. Any sin once done means it is like an atomic bomb. Once the bomb is deployed, it will have its effect. The damage will happen. After the damage, I can go for prayachita. No use at all. Damage is done. So what big effect it will have? To maybe to some extent it helps, because damage is done now, right? So sins can never be forgiven, whereas mistakes may be forgiven. So you know the difference between sin and mistake. Now he is another great scholar. He says God may forgive your sins. You know, some communities they say that you can forgive. The God can forgive your sins, but your nervous system won't forgive you. What he is trying to tell you? What is sin first? Sin is nothing but my thought, word, or action. If it gives pain, it is called sin. Yes, sin is any action which gives pain, either now or in future, either physically or mentally, either to myself or to others. That is called sin. Now, if I make a sin, God may forgive. Okay, I did a sin and God has forgiven. Let's accept that as it is. God has forgiven my sin. But he says my nervous system will not forgive it. That means whenever I give pain, my nervous system is affected. We know that what is the effect of stress within us. It activates adrenaline gland, it secretes some hormones, pituitary secretes some hormones, BP increases, glycogen, the storage media for our energy is stopped. The digestive system is not getting the energy to do the digestive process. Eyes gets dilated, nervous system gets speeded up, air circulation, blood circulation, heat circulation, everything is elevated or increased to multifold level, and insulin secretion is stopped. There are so many activities which happened whenever I am stressed. When I am stressed only I give pain, because the something is not good, so I am taking some action and I am giving a pain. So when I give a pain, there is a problem. The nervous system gets affected. We have two nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. One makes you to do all your actions, whereas parasympathetic brings back you to normal. So the nervous system, once I give pain, it is affected. Who can forgive that nervous system? It already weakened, and the cell in every nerves is 100 years life. So once it is damaged, means damaged. I have to live with it for 100 years. That is why there is no big permanent solution for any disease related to nervous system, like simple paralysis or brain stroke, anything. So we have to take care of nervous system. For that, we should not do any sins. That is what he is meaning. Actually, he is 100% correct. So sin is so powerful. Now, Maharishi has written a poem in Tamil. வினைப்பதிவாம் சுமையை விடுத்து தூய்மை பெறவே நினைவாய் உடல் எடுத்தேன். What he says, I am born to remove my sins and to purify. I am born because of my negative karma. I have sins, so I am born. If I don't have a negative karma, I will not be born again. Cycle of birth is stopped there, closed there. So I am born to remove my sins so that I am purifying. After birth, once I am born, then I forgot myself. What I forgot myself? Why I am born? What caused me to have birth in this earth? The sin, but I forgot it. And I forgot my karma. What is the meaning of this? I forgot that I had a negative karma. I also forgot that I have to purify that negative karma by doing a positive karma. All that I forgot, my karma. Oh God, I forgot you also. The moment I forget God, then illusion comes in. Then ego comes in. Then all sins are in place. That is how humanity is going through only pain and happiness, not beyond happiness and pain, which is ecstasy or peace. Only sometimes people see peace, feel peace, not see, feel peace. And ecstasy is the greatest thing which we all can live. So Maharishi has written a poem, God filled everywhere with ecstasy. In that title, this poem is there. In this poem, he is clearly telling that I am born here to get rid of my negative karma, which is a sin. I should not do new sins. Two things. Whatever sins I have done, purify it, and I should not do new sins. That's all. So that was the meaning of that poem. And we have seen in our literature, scriptures, Puranas, all that even a great saint gets angry. And we have seen, we have learned, we have heard so many stories about that. Why is that? Because anger is so powerful, hardly people can control that. People can manage it. It is such a powerful thing, unless we take a strong step, we can't do it. So this Ambalavana Kavirayar in 1812, he has written a poem. In that poem, he straight away answered this question: who are the parents of sins? And he simply says, only anger. Anger is the father, anger is the mother, and the child is sin. That's it. So his answer is, anger is the parent of sins, or parents of sins, both. And we, at household as well, day-to-day life as well, we get angry with life partner, kids, and office, and everywhere, many places we get angry. So he says, with anger we do all the sins, and the father and mother of sin is only anger. That was his answer, and he answered in 18th century. And why he says it, he has explained, he has given the list of things which can happen when somebody gets angry. So that is why he named anger as the parents of all the sins. If somebody gets disasters in their life, all the disasters are happening because of his anger only. Otherwise, he will not have any disaster. And he spoils the relationship with everyone in the society. Not only the wife, kids, everyone, the social health is spoiled. And anger is the fountain of all sins. As long as I have anger, I have a fountain full of sins. So anytime I can vomit, I can pump out, I can blast, and because I have fountain of sins within me, and I become inimical to all the people. Everybody will see me, even if a sage see me, he will see me as inimical, because my magnetic energy will have all that negative quality in it. So everybody will have inimical feeling towards me, and I will be alone in my life. Nobody will come and show love to me because I am angry. I am angry person. I am short-tempered person. I have to spend the life lonely, means alone, because nobody will have real soul level love or affection or attachment. And also says it will take us to Yamaraja, the god of death. So I know that one of my senior who was at the age 32 in Oman, he was working for an oil and gas company like QP, and he had bypass surgery twice at the age of 32. And then he had to, they terminated him because saying that you are not fit to work here. And that fellow was thinner than me, pure vegetarian, no smoking, no drinks, not even 1% bad habit, anything. He is so much devotional as well, but he got heart attack twice and two bypass surgeries only because he is a short-tempered person. So anger can take, and he is no more now actually. It will take us to the god of death. So because of all these reasons, Ambalavana Kavirayar said, anger is the parents of all the sins in this world. Now there, you know that there was a great poet called Valluvar. He has written 1,330 couplets, poem, only one, with 7 words. Most of his poems, I think all poems will have only 7 words, and two lines. Okay. And in this poem, what he says, let me explain. In this poem, he says that beggar, the people who doesn't have anything and is asking for food and money to for his survival, the beggar should never get angry. That is the essence of this, the meaning of this particular couplet. That means beggar should never get angry. That's what he says. Now, everybody have association. So these beggars also had association. And so they were so upset that how can this fellow tell that only beggars, not only, beggars should never get angry. What is his problem? Why he is dead against us? So they approached our great poet Wallivar. It's all I'm just explaining as my thinking. Okay. It's not that he was there and there was an association and things like that. So this guy asked Wallivar, Swamiji, what is this? You are so biased against us. And you have written that only we should never get angry. So that means other can get angry and I should never get angry. Why you are dead against us? What is your problem? Why I should never get angry? If Valluvar is there, he might have answered like this. That is the interpretation I get from this poem. Valluvar says to him, yes, I said you should never get angry because you are begging only because of your past anger. Now also if you get angry, I don't know what else God can punish you. There is no other punishment than this because you don't have anything with you and you have to beg. So the root cause for your begging itself is anger. What else if you do now also? We also pray to God so many things. If we need it, we should first dispose our anger at all. We should never have anger at all. The translation of this poem is, Ascus, refused from wrath, must stand aloof. The plague of poverty itself is ample proof. Why is begging is the simplest proof. Ample proof, not only simplest, enough proof that was a reason for it. So such is the power of anger. And that is why that great poet said, anger is the parents of all sins. Now what Maharishis have said, he has given enough explanation about anger. What is anger? Anger is nothing but emotional conflict with somebody or with some situation or some any object as well. Maybe when I wanted, the phone is hanging. So I am so upset with, I am angry with the phone. What is this phone? Stupid. I paid 3,000 real and it is hanging. So I have an emotional conflict with object or people or anything, any situation also. That is called anger. Anger is an inimical feeling with living or non-living things. That is called anger. When anger comes, Maharishi has defined, anger comes whenever my desire is blocked by some object, some situation or somebody. I want to reach my office at 8 o'clock. There is a huge traffic jam. Now I get angry with the road department of Qatar, or I can get angry with anyone. Or my wife did not give me the breakfast at that time, so I get angry with her. So when my desire is blocked, I get angry. So that is how I get anger. Now Maharishi has written the poem, we all are born to get rid of anger. We should never we should get rid of our sins, not we should increase the sin. But if I get angry, Maharishi has clearly said, sins are increasing because anger is a pain which I give to not only others, twice the effect on me first. And then only it goes. Buddha had said, anger means having a burnt charcoal on my hand. First I burn it, and then if I throw on somebody, others also gets burnt. We all know that anger is a punishment to me for not having done any mistake. Means I kill myself. Bharati has said, whoever gets angry, they kill themselves. We all know that how much pain it is giving to us and to others. Most importantly, Maharishi's greatest one message is, what is the greatest asset we can give to our children is not money, not education, or not anything else except purified imprints, pure genetic center. If I get angry once in a week or 5 times a week, my son will get angry not at the age of 25 or after marriage, even at the age of 10, he will get angry because it is in my genetic center and he is a Xerox copy of my GC. So definitely, if we want our children to enjoy a great life, we should not get angry so that our genetic center gets purified and they live a great life. So Maharishi's, the two greatest point here is anger creates sins. We are born to get rid of sins, not to add sins. Number one point. Second point, if we want our children to live a great life, first thing, I should be able to stop doing sins or control the anger. Two messages, right? Two important points. There are around 15, 13 other points, the ill effects of anger or the dangers of anger, right? We all know that the biomagnetic energy is drained, the frequency goes up. When the frequency goes above 14 or 20, 25, definitely I become mad. I mean, so many things which is happening within myself. Energy is wasted. Number one, the wastage. Whenever somebody gets energy for 3 hours, energy keeps draining from my body. That is the power of that biomagnetic energy when I get angry. And slowly what happened is my immune system will slow down and I will not, I means I will have reduced immunity, right? The third, the life force gets drained as well. So my life is shortened, means longevity is shortened. And we know that when I get angry, blood circulation increases. When blood circulation increases, air circulation, heat circulation, and biomagnetic circulation, life force circulation, all 5 circulations are increased in different proportion, disproportionately, not equal percentage, so that it gets balanced quickly. No, it will not get balanced immediately because each one is increased disproportionately. If blood circulation is increased by 10%, air circulation is increased by 200%, magnetic circulation by 500%, heat circulation maybe by 1000%. So it really takes a lot of time for balancing. And it affects eyes, kidney, heart, most importantly. Eyes, kidney, heart. And tongue works faster than brain because we don't know what we are talking. Why? When I get angry, biomagnetism goes in a high frequency. It is bombarding the brain areas, and brain is not able to think anything because it is bombarded by high flow of biomagnetism. So the tongue works faster than brain, and happiness goes out of me. And spiritual progress, I can enjoy a blissful life only if I keep my frequency below 4. Whereas anger takes us above 14 cycles, above 20 frequency, 20 cycles per second. Obviously, social health is spoiled. My personality itself is spoiled. And I can't take any right decision. There is a saying in Tamil which says that you can't enter a big temple. Your head will not enter a big temple. That means the temple will have a great entrance, big entrance, even a crane go inside. But if I am in anger, I will not be able to enter through the proper door. I will hit the wall of the temple. What it means is when I am angry, I can't take any decision. I can take a decision, but I can't take right decision. And unexpressed anger, controlled anger, it becomes worries and vengeance. So that is much worse than anger itself. Suppression is worse or more dangerous than expression of anger. We all know that. I said 13th, right? I don't know, 13th is there. No, okay. So that is one more, social karma. It is not only the effect on me and others, even the social karma. Now so many unwanted things are happening. It is all because of collected negative thoughts from many people. So the social karma, the imprints in the universe is also getting affected. So that is why even natural disaster can come because of that. So these are all the ill effects of or dangers of all the anger. And that is why he named anger as the parent of sins. And we all know that neutralization of anger, we have to control, we have to manage our and we have to neutralize our anger. So he has given a beautiful practice. If we follow it, in 30 days we can neutralize our anger. And what is required is willpower. That is why he has given neutralization of anger at introspection 2. Now it is 1. Willpower. First, you have to practice meditation, so that you earn a lot of willpower. You generate a lot of willpower. You get more mental strength. And now I know what is right and what is wrong, what I should do, what I should not do. Follow that table and neutralization of anger. If you can implement it in 30 days, yes, you can neutralize. And why the anger is, why God is creating that situation so that I get tensed, I get angry, because the nature is choosing a right person to make me tensed, because I have to get rid of my negative karma, plus I have to change my character. I have some negative quality. That character, if I don't change it, sublimation will not happen. In Maharishi system, 4 steps, right? Meditation, introspection, sublimation, and perfection is the last stage, blissful living. So first is meditation, you get willpower, man of strength, and then introspection. Introspection is neutralization of anger. I have to neutralize my anger. The moment I neutralize the anger, anger is gone out. I am sublimation. Means I get sublimation. That means I get rid of my negative quality, negative character, negative, attitude. So that is sublimation. And we have to remember, you can't change others by force. Even a 10-year-old boy, if he is not studying it, I can get angry. He may act like he is studying it, but he can be daydreaming. But changing ourselves is much, much easier than changing others. So we have to remember, anger cannot change anybody or anything. And why are they making me tensed? Why are they doing all wrong things so that I get angry? The reason is not them. They are supposed to do as per the instructions of God, not as I wish. Everybody, we all are working according to divine's force, which is within me. But the problem is, my karma warrants that situation. My negative karma, my sin has to get rid from my stock. How? Only by doing all what I don't like, what I don't expect. So the reason for them to make me angry is my karma, not that person, not my wife, not my children. If not them, God will use somebody else to get rid of that my negative karma from me, so that I get tensed. Instead of getting insulted from others, getting insulted within the family is much more, God is so kind. So he is giving all that within home. So the reason for others to make us angry is not really them. It is my negative karma. So what should I do? I have to think all their positive qualities, all their sacrifices done to me, all their great things they have done to me. If I take of my wife, what are the things they have done to me? If I take my son, what are the things they have done to me? And we always think of their positive qualities that will be there on the surface of genetic center. Then we can neutralize our anger slowly. And of course, auto suggestion, blessings, and before that situation comes, visualization. Oh, now I am going to ask for breakfast and she is going to tell me it is not yet ready. No, I should not get angry now. I know that I have to leave my home by 7 o'clock, but she will not make it ready as usual. Now I am going to ask for breakfast. No, let me not get anger. So visualize that the situation is going to be worse, but I am going to be the best. With that visualization technique, you can neutralize, you can avoid that situation, anger. People think anger means shouting it, or throwing something, or going out of the place, leaving that particular place. Not only that, when I started managing my anger, as you all know, I have pasted a white paper, and one day my son mentioned that daddy got angry in the morning, 8 o'clock during breakfast. I asked him, hey, I didn't get angry at all. Did I shout anybody? Did I tell anything? I didn't open my mouth at all. My son told me, Daddy, yes, you didn't open your mouth at all, but you were, what? Oh my God, in English, what should I tell? Means, you didn't talk to anybody. Your face showed me you are angry inside, but you didn't express it. But your mind was not in peace. You were upset with something during breakfast, but you didn't tell anything to us. You were angry. I could see from your face. Because when normally you always talk in an enjoyable mood, all the time you talk. Now, why you kept quiet? Why you didn't talk to anybody for half an hour or 1 hour? That means you were angry. So, angry means getting upset for anything within me in terms of thought itself is also anger, not only to be expressed. Pain inside me or outside. So both are anger, right? So that we need to remember it. Now, how much anger I have? How to find out how much anger I have? Can I ask you to guess how much anger I have? How to find out? Can anybody write in the chat box how to find out how much anger I have? Except those who already attended this lecture in Tamil. But I don't know whether you remember it also. So yes, you can write in the chat box how to find out how much anger I have. Tough question. Any answers? Family can tell, yeah, sure. Sometimes when you started following this anger, no, they will keep telling, even if you are not angry, why you are upset, they may tell also. But I have experienced that. But still, family can tell for sure. Compared to me, others can tell very much. Great. Any other answer? How can I find how much anger I have? Number of how many friends or enemies one has. Very good. Mood swings. Serious. Very good. Excellent. Anything else? I know how many friends, enemies one has. I know one gentleman, he has lot of friends, but no friend, not even one friend is so close to him. So we have to slightly change how many close friends maybe. Your health status or emotional level, very good. Of course, yeah, that is also an indication. Disturbed mood, very good. Great answer. Any other indicator? How much anger I have? The answer I'm going to give is not from Maharishi, but you can just think it. If it is right, you take it, because Maharishi has indirectly mentioned in many poems the best way, unfulfilling desire, quality of sleep. Okay, good. Able to accept anything that happens. Great. How many complaints you have? That is one indication. That is a major indication for how much anger I have. I am not happy with the climate. I am not happy with my wife Sambar. I am not happy with Zoom or dress. Anything I am not happy with. That much anger I have really. If that doesn't happen, I may pop out. I may blast. I may burst out. Or I may not express it, but I may try to suppress it. But I'm not happy with it. So if you are really contented, you have no complaint about anything at all today, that means you don't have even 1% of anger in you. But if I have a complaint, oh, no, my husband is really great, but he never took me to any movie, or he never comes with me to any shop to to buy something. But we all have some complaints about a life partner on some aspect. Then I have still that much anger I have with respect to that factor. If I am not, everyone is fantastic. Really, my wife, what? My God, not only this birth, even not 7 birth, additional birth, 700 additional birth. I want her to be my life partner. If somebody can think like this, definitely with respect to life partner, no anger at all. But we all have to introspect ourselves and make it no complaint, everything is fine, all is for good. That should be the thinking process for us, so that our anger level goes out. So far, whatever we have discussed so far is why sins are important. Parents of sins, Ambalavana Kavirayar said anger. And what is Maharishi's views about anger? All that we have discussed. How to neutralize anger also we have discussed. Now the fourth one, there was a Puranic story. And one of the king, when he got up from bed, he had a doubt. As soon as he got up, he had a doubt that who would be the father of all the sins in this world. And he was thinking to find an answer, and he couldn't find answer. So he immediately called all the ministers and told that, oh, I have an important doubt now. I need answer for this doubt in 7 days time. And it's an open challenge to anybody. Please tell me who can give you the right answer. And if your answer is wrong, this is the punishment. If your answer is right, I am going to share one of my place to you to own. Village, maybe, right? So everybody was thinking about who will be the father of all sins in this world. And so many people gave, and one Pandit also gave that I will find the answer in 7 days, I will get back to you. Okay, he registered his name as well. Now days passed, he was not able to find the answer for who is the father of all sins. He was a scholar, but he couldn't find the answer for this simple question. Not a simple question, sorry. Father of all sins, who is that? So the sixth day have come, and tomorrow he has to tell the result. And he was so sad. And he was sitting in the bank of a river, which he normally spends evening time there. And he was so sad, and he was thinking, praying, oh, I don't know, now tomorrow I will have punishment and things like that. And one of the, the prostitute or female slave, that lady, one of the lady, she used to see this Pandit most of the days in that place, bank of the river bank. And so she approached him, Swami, today I see that you look so depressed, or you are not well, and something I am seeing, your face is not with the same smile. What is happening? Is there any problem for you? The lady asked him, and then the Pandit said, yes, I am in a serious problem. What is the problem? Oh, no, you don't know. No, no, tell me, sir, please tell me, Swamiji, please, what is the problem? Then he said, yeah, this is my problem. I need answer for this question. Who is the father of all sins? That lady said, I know the answer. Oh, really? Please tell me the answer. Then you have to come with me to my home. She said, fine, no problem. So the Pandit walked with her to her home. So they both reached the home. Now the Pandit asked her, please, what is answer for this father of all sins? Who is the father of all sins? Swami, I can tell you the answer only when you come inside my home, not at the doorstep. Okay, I will come inside. So now the Pandit went inside the prostitute's home. Then he said, what is the answer? Then she said, Swami, you have come to my home. Now, it is not that I can just tell you the answer. I have to eat what I give you. At least something you have to eat. Unfortunately, I have only meat. Right? So please eat at least one simple portion of this meat. Then only I will give you the answer. Okay, he thought for a minute. Fine, I need the answer. So he ate meat. He never touched the meat in his lifetime. And now he ate the meat also. Now we asked, come on, please tell me, who is the father of all sins? Now that lady said, I'm so sorry. I can tell you the answer only when you come to my bedroom. Okay, so she went to bedroom, and Pandit also went to her bedroom. And now I have come to your bedroom. Tell me, who is the father of all sins? That lady said, sorry, now I will tell you, but you have to give me a kiss. Kiss. Okay, he gave a kiss. Then she blasted her, face with her hand. And this fellow, oh my God, I did whatever you said only. You only said kiss me, I kissed it, and you are blasting me. What is happening? Why are you? Then she said, this is the answer for your question. What is the answer for my question? Greedy. That is the father of all sins in this world. Then now he realized, oh my God, I am a Pandit. How can I do all these sins? Doing all the sins, the cause is what? Greedy. I am after this. And I didn't see what is sin, what is wrong, what is right. I never thought about it. I thank you so much for your answer, though it was a great way you explained me the answer. Thank you so much. And that fellow went to the king and he told, this is the answer. And everybody accepted, king accepted, and he got rewarded. Everything was solved. Now, why he said, greedy is the father of all sins? Is this right, or Ambalavana Kavirayar is right? Now we have to think about that. And he is right, because we know the definition for anger is, if any desire is blocked, we get angry. And when I get angry, I do sins. So the root cause for anger is the desire, inordinate desire, or any desire, not inordinate desire, any desire. I want to become professor in our sky system. And if somebody is trying to block me to make me as a professor, I will get angry with him. So whether I demoralized or demoralized doesn't matter at all. As long as I have a desire, if somebody is blocking me or if some situation is blocking me, I will get angry with them. Right. So the parent of anger is desire, because desire is the root cause for anger. So that great gentleman Pandit said, desire is the problem. Desire is the parent of all sins. Now, maybe I can ask you to give one answer. Is it right, or Maharishi had a different answer? Can any write? Can you write your view? Desire is the parent of sin, or anger is the parent of sin, or what could be the correct? What could be the answer from Maharishi as a parent of all the sins? Is it desire or undesirable? Any desire, if it is blocked, you will get angry for sure. No need to be undesirable desire. Even if I want to be a manager, it's a desire. Or I want to become a professor in my system. And if somebody is blocking, I will get angry. I and mine are parents of sins. Limit and method, Sanchita karma, is the root of all sins. Great, super. Ego, super. Desire, parents, anger, and greed together. Okay, greed is nothing but anger. Sorry, nothing but desire, but inordinate desire is greed. Okay, great. Now, what Maharishi says about the parents of all sins? Maharishi never ever said he is the parent of all sins, but he has indirectly answered this question. How he answered is, he really used the word as father and mother as I and mine. Ego. Ego means there are two things. One is I, which is aggressiveness. I am telling you, do this. I want at 7 o'clock. I, aggressiveness. The power. The second one is mine, which is possessiveness. No, it's my pen. It's my phone, my wife, my son, my dress. Wherever I use mine, possessiveness. And wherever I try to control others, power, show off the power, I, aggressiveness. They are the father and mother. The father and mother, the parents are I and mine, aggressiveness and possessiveness. When there is a father and mother, obviously there is a child. Need not be one child. There are 6 child according to Maharishi. Those 6 child are greedy, anger, immoral sexual passion, inferiority, superiority complex, vengeance, miserliness. These are the 5 children born out of I and mine. The parents of sins, not parents of sins. What Maharishi said, he says, I and mine, greedy, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, inferiority, superiority complex, vengeance. These are the 6 children which are born out of I and mine as a father and mother. Now, what these 6 qualities will tell, If anybody has any of that or all of that, they will do sins. Not normal sins, great sins. Lie, theft, cunning, raping, killing. These are the 5 great sins. Pancha Maha Padaga, Pancha Maha, that means the 5 great sins. Those great sins are out of the 6 qualities, 6 qualities, right? All the sins what we do is based on any of these 6 qualities: greedy, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, complex, vengeance. Now, the parents of all the 6 are I and mine, aggressiveness and possessiveness. Together they are called ego. So the ego is a single culprit. And Maharishi has given a beautiful definition called ego means forgetting divinity. The moment I forget that everything is divine, I comes in. Hey, I am telling you 7 o'clock, you should be ready. I forget that she is doing all as per God's instruction, not as per my instruction. In fact, as per my karma. So I forget God there. I put myself in the front, then ego comes in. If I keep myself at the back, then God comes in first. Then there is no ego there. Then there is no sin there. So, as per Maharishi's views, the parents are I and mine, aggressiveness and possessiveness. For this parent, 6 children are there, and these 6 children cause all the sins in this world. He has listed everything there. So, who is right now? Ambalavana Kavirayar, who said anger is the parent of all sins, or greedy is the parent of all sins, the Pandit had said, or Maharishi said. All 3 are in fact correct. When I ask in a restaurant, what do you give for lunch? If somebody says, lunch, see, here only we give rice, sambar, rasam. And somebody else may tell, sorry, we will give you sambar, rasam, rice, and also we give some curry also, vegetable curry also there. Oh, okay, he is also right. But Maharishi says, when somebody asks what is served for lunch, we will give first a soup, then we will give you a starter, and then we will give chapati, then we will give rice, sambar, rasam, 2 vegetable curries, 1 kurma, finally curd, and also 1 sweet. That's all we serve in lunch. Maharishi's answer is complete in that respect. Ambalavana Kavirayar is also right. The king, that Pandit who said greedy is the root cause of all anger, he is also right. Maharishi is perfect because he completed everything inside, and as a total capsule he has given it. So the parents of all sins is I and mine, ego. How much ego I have? I have said in many of my lectures. How much ego I have? The moment I have complaints, I object, I reject, I oppose, I argue, I get angry, I get irritated, I get shouting, or I command, I demand, I worry. All that are symptoms of having ego in me. That ego, if I have, definitely I am tempted to produce sins. I will definitely do sinful activities, sinful thoughts at least. So I should kill my ego. So we have covered all that now, parents of sins. Now only one thing is pending. What should we remember at the end? So first of all, anger is a major source of all the sins. Why anger is only the major source of sins? Now just think for a minute that particular Pandit who went to prostitute. Did he get angry when he did the sin? He kissed her. Now if wife knows, I'm sure she will be painful. Not only wife, the entire community treat him as a mediator for God, and he expects them to follow certain norms. Now, when this fellow ate meat or kissed a prostitute, definitely it is a sin, because tomorrow wife will suffer a series of pain. That fellow didn't think about that, and he did that sin. But was he angry? No, he was not in angry at all when he did the sin. So we may do a lot of sins without anger also. When we have a greedy, we may do it as well. When we have an immoral sexual passion without angry, in fact with happiness, people do that sin as well. When they are involved in immoral sexual passion, where is anger there? No anger at all. So sin is there. So anger is a major contributor for sin, but not that only one. So we have to neutralize the anger. The root cause is greedy. We have to moralize our desire. What is greedy? If the desire is achieved, or when the in the process of achieving my desire, if it causes pain to me or others, either now or future, or to me physically or mentally, is a greedy. The pain, right? So the greedy is the cause for anger, but I have to moralize the desire. But that doesn't mean I will not get anger. So at least we can avoid lot of anger if it is moralized. And I should not forget my divinity. Remembering, seeing divinity in everything, in everyone, everywhere, is self-realization. If I can see that, nothing is like that. The moment I forget it, I and mine comes in. So that is the ego, which causes 6 negative qualities, right? Now, but we will get all situations to make us tensed, to make us angry, to make me to do sins, because they are not the culprit. I am the culprit. I have to change my character. I am not here to change others, to change others. I have to change myself. That is why the situation is given to me. The culprit is my karma, not others. And what I should do, I have to think about all the positive things they have done to me, all the sacrifices they have done to me. If I can fill up my genetic center with all that positive qualities of the people with whom I interact on day-to-day activity, definitely the hatred feeling will come down, anger will come down, sin will come down. So I have to do that. Of course, I have to bless them, I have to increase my auto suggestion, and I have to visualize. These are the things we have to always remember to control it. Just to conclude, this is sugar cane machine. They put the sugar can first as a single sugar can, and once the juice is extracted, then they fold it twice, and once extract still the juice is extracted, now they fold it 4 times, as you can see in the picture. And once the crushed again they fold it 8 times, 12 times. Finally, as a single piece, they will put it inside the machine. Again, it will crush it and it will suck all the juice. Now, what juice comes out anytime you crush it? Only sweet. The sugar cane juice is producing only sweet juice. Why? That is the essence of sugar cane. The essence of sugar cane, you crush it any number of times, it will keep on giving only sweet juice. Similarly, the situation can be anything around me. If my essence is only love and compassion, let them crush me anything, anyway. Let them cut my hand. If I have love and compassion as my essence, I will never have any sins in me. I will have only love, compassion, forgiveness, service, charity. These are the qualities I will have. It will get from me. Let the situation be anything, but I will produce only love and compassion. That is called self-realization, divine realization. That is the indication that whatever I think it will happen, and what is possible only I will think, that is a blissful living. And that is the purpose of birth. In order to achieve that blissful living, Maharishi has given a beautiful practices, Turiyatit meditation, and all introspection practices like anger, worries, etc., etc. If we can really practice to start with that meditation first, I am sure we all can achieve that blissful living. So with this, I conclude, and we can go for any questions and answers if you have any doubt. Thank you so much. Thank you.